Imagine two kids from Windsor, Connecticut. Same age, same talent, same skin color, same dream. Making it to the NFL. See, for kids like us, professional sports was the clearest path to financial freedom. So that's what we chase. And the fact that less than 1% of us would ever make it, well, that was a minor detail. Mind you, 7 years old, I was a skinny little thing. I weighed about 45 pounds soaking wet. Big helmet on, looking like a bobblehead running around the field. But that was me, man, chasing the dream, feeling like I had a clear purpose in life. Alongside my boy Denzel, we both played for the Windsor Giants. His dad was actually our head coach, one of the greatest coaches I ever had. Truly wanted nothing but the best for us. So there we were, one straight path to the top in both of our minds. But as we got older, that path started to quietly fork. See, I got uprooted from my neighborhood and went to a private school in New York that my dad worked at, while Denzel stayed in the public school system in the under-resourced neighborhood we both grew up in. I watched my network expand, learning about new majors, careers, jobs that paid 7 figures, while Denzel watched his NFL dreams fade, started hanging with the wrong crowd. I got admitted into Harvard College, a school I only heard about in the movies growing up, with the opportunity to play Division I football. Every kid's dream. Denzel got taken to court, became a part of the legal system. No statistic any kid ever wants to be a part of. Now, I get out of college, D gets out of jail. I land on Wall Street, D lands back in the streets. I learn how to save and invest, D learns how to take care of his newborn. I took a trip across the country to California to start a new chapter here at the Stanford GSB, and Denzel took a bullet that ended his story far too soon. See, I knew when I changed schools, I had crossed the bridge and gotten access to a completely different world driven by academia and opportunity. But what I didn't realize is that access could be the differentiator between trajectory and tragedy. So the question I was wrestling with isn't why did access show for me, but why wasn't access built into the same place that me and Denzel both came from? And when you think about our past, you might say, okay, well, you got access to the private school, that made all the difference. That's the solution. But I say I just got lucky. And luck isn't a strategy or a solution. See, if my dad wasn't a fitness director at that private school, I would have stayed in the same neighborhood. And that letter home in 7th grade from the principal to my mom that said, your child has been listed in a group trying to create a gang at school, could have sprouted in a completely different world for me. So yeah, my path improved because of a change of environment. But here's the part that we don't talk about. My boys back home were just as capable. They just never got a shot to prove it to the world. See, the system didn't change, I just exited it. I had to leave my mom and my grandmother in the community that raised me. Instead of a 5-minute bus, I now took an hour-long train to school every single day from Bridgeport to New York just to sit in the classroom. I was the only black male surrounded by wealth and privilege I couldn't relate to. Constantly monitoring how I spoke, how I dressed, how I showed up just to survive. Sometimes I felt invisible, and other times hyper-visible. But I had to remind myself it was for the education and access and exposure, which will end up being life-changing for me. Meanwhile, my boys back home, stuck in the same system, the same constraints. See, luck can elevate the individual, but it leaves the system untouched. And so now you might say, okay, maybe we have to fix the public school system, right? That's the real fix. And you're not wrong. Education reform matters. But the cold hard truth is that we've been reforming for decades and we continue to depend on a decentralized system of over 13,000 districts where your zip code remains the greatest predictor of your life expectancy. Then there's the funding gap. Schools in places like Harvard are severely under-resourced, spending around $20K per student annually, while wealthy neighboring districts are spending upwards of $50K annually. So that's a $30K gap per child per year. So by the time those two kids graduate, the kid in the wealthier district has over $350K invested in their potential. And yeah, there's been some progress, but progress is happening painfully slow. And kids don't have decades, they have today. And research studies show that a young person with a consistent supportive adult outside of their immediate family who shows up for them is 50% more likely to apply to college and highly less likely to engage in high-risk behaviors. And developmental psychologists tell us that by adolescence, a young person's idea of what is realistic is highly shaped by the environment that they grow up in. See, if exposure is limited, imagination narrows. And if imagination can narrow, it could also expand. And that expansion doesn't necessarily require policy reform. It requires presence. So here's the shift. The solution I want us to focus on is mentorship as infrastructure. So not to check the box, I volunteered one summer kind, not a resume line, not a photo op, but structured holistic guidance consistently delivered over years, not weeks. Because infrastructure works for 3 simple reasons. It's intentional, it's reliable, and it's accessible. We don't leave roads, the grid, or internet up to chance. Experts design it, they maintain it, they monitor it, they upgrade it so that anyone can rely on it no matter where they're from. And in practice, this looks like people like you and me paying our access forward. Not just donating money, but donating time, proximity, and belief. It's about programs that don't just parachute in once a year, but stick with a child over their most formative years. And most importantly, it's addressing the whole child through the 4 pillars of wellness: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Mental is the ability to think clearly, solve problems, and see options beyond your current environment. Emotional is the ability to handle pain, pressure, and loss without letting it define you. Physical is health, discipline, and respect for your body. And spiritual is the sense of identity and purpose greater than your circumstances. See, 3 years ago, two childhood friends, Devontae, Terrell, and I started a nonprofit called DT Cares, built on these 4 pillars. We go beyond just helping kids succeed in school and sports. We help them navigate life. Applications, interviews, confidence, identity, exposure. We surround them with a support system that helps them tap into their full potential through consistent hands-on guidance. This is infrastructure. This is access by design. And it's working. One of our mentees, Yayo, grew up on the south end of Hartford, and by the age of 14, Yayo has seen more trauma than most people go through in a lifetime. He lost several close members of his to gang violence. And in 8th grade, a cop sent 2 bullets through a windshield that took the life of his 19-year-old brother. Imagine going to more funerals you can count on 2 hands before you hit high school. Now, through a consistent presence by our basketball coach, Coach Jay, and through structured mentorship from DT Cares, and most importantly, through hard work on Yayo's part, he not only beat the odds, he grew into leadership. Yayo was the first in his family to graduate high school and attend college, earned a full scholarship to play Division III basketball, and got a first-class education. Yayo just turned 21, and now he mentors in the same community he grew up in. And this summer, Yayo texted me and said, "I don't even think you understand how much you changed my life." But the truth is, he changed mine. See, he helped me realize that my opportunity wasn't about escape, it was about return. He helped clarify my purpose. Now, before I close, I want to leave you with an image. In space navigation, engineers know that if a spacecraft trajectory alters by just a fraction of a degree early in its journey, that tiny adjustment compounds over millions of miles. Scientists call this exponential divergence. Now think about a child. One mentor, one new environment, one adult who consistently shows up. It may not seem dramatic in the moment, but 10 years from now, that mentorship could be the difference between trajectory and tragedy. And it starts with people like you and me, choosing to be a part of the design. And there are 3 key things you can do to take action. First, audit your access. What rooms, networks, and knowledge do you have that someone else doesn't? And who can you bring with you? Second, show up consistently. Not once, but over time. Consistency is what turns moments into systems. And third, expand someone's imagination. Help them fill out an application, show them a new career, take them on a campus visit. Make the invisible visible. Now, when I started this talk, I was one person with a cause. Now with you all, we're a coalition that could change what opportunity looks like for everyone. So let's go to work. Thank you.